Hello, my name is Matt Cernilia. I'm one of the lead instructors at the Patrol Rifle and Tactical Slug Shotgun program. And today we're going to be discussing manipulations of the rifle. All right, some of the parts of the rifle that may not really be known to some of the new shooters that we need you to understand when we go through the manips or when you go through it on your own with your divisional RITS instructor. One of the big things is we're going to start looking at the magazine release button. Another one is going to be the forward assist. The charging handle. The charging handle latch. Dust cover. The selector switch. It's on safe, fire, safe, fire. The bolt release and the bolt catch. Although it's one of the same pieces, it's on a toggle. So the bottom part is the bolt catch, and the top part is the bolt release. First things we're going to start with is going to be the port arms position. Your primary hand is going to be placed nice and high into the tane of the pistol grip. Your finger is going to be along the receiver, and your thumb is going to be on top of the selector switch. Your support hand is going to be in a comfortable position placed on the hand guards, and your muzzle is going to be up in the air approximately 45 degrees. Start off with the chamber check. With the chamber check, we're just ensuring that the weapon system is loaded or unloaded. So for the chamber check, we're going to take our primary hand. We're going to grip the buttstock approximately 1.5 inches below the charging handle. This is our charging handle. And you're going to wind up depressing the charging handle latch, drawing that bolt straight to the rear, giving you enough room to be able to see up into the chamber. This is going to give you enough space to verify whether there's something in the chamber or not. We want to elevate that weapon system nice and high, as high as we possibly can, so we can actually see up into the chamber. So it's more beneficial if you actually lock out your elbow so you can see nice and high, get that weapon system nice and high in the air. When you're done making that chamber check, you're going to let that bolt go home on its own inertia so it can lock back into the chamber. Once you've let the weapon system or the bolt go home on its own inertia, with the palm of your hand, you're going to hit the forward assist one time just to make sure that it's nice and locked. And you're going to re-grip that pistol grip, once again, with your thumb on top of the selector switch. First manipulation is going to be load and make ready for live fire. First thing you're going to do is do that exact same chamber check. Nice and high, see up in the chamber. Let it go home on its own inertia, hit the forward assist, reacquire the pistol grip with your finger along the receiver, thumb back up on top of the selector switch. You're going to get into the administrative loading and unloading position, much like that of the shotgun. You're going to acquire your magazine, proper 3-finger grip, insert the magazine in the magazine well, seat, and tug. You're going to place that weapon system nice and high into your shoulder in order to gain clearance. And you're going to charge the weapon system, slapping your shoulder. You're going to come back down to port arms, and once again, that finalized chamber check. Grip the buttstock, bring the bolt back to the rear, nice and high chamber check, let it go home on its own inertia, hit the forward assist, reacquire the pistol grip with our finger along the receiver, and once again, our thumb on top of the selector switch. 2 acceptable grips for our magazine. The first one being the standard proper 3-finger grip, and the next one being the C grip. Now when it comes down to the C grip, we want to make sure that we have our pinky underneath, so it's going to give us the ability to make sure that it's seated. Oftentimes we will see grips too high, and it's not going to be able to clear the magazine well. So usually they'll have to re-grip and try and seat it. Or we see the paw down here. And again, it's a little bit more difficult to try and find that magazine well. So again, the proper grips are acceptable grips, proper 3-finger, or the C-grip. Next is going to be the muzzle up low light chamber check. It's still the same concept as the chamber check itself. I'm going to wind up drawing that bolt straight to the rear. And the easiest way to do it is if you take the knife portion of your hand, bring it all the way down to the magazine well, and just curl your finger into that chamber, you can verify whether there's a round in there or not. It'd behoove you to remove your finger before you let that go home on its own inertia. And once again, pop the forward assist, regain control over that pistol grip with your thumb on top of the selector switch and your finger along the receiver. All right, next position is going to be the presentations position. We'll start with the low ready. For testing purposes, your rifle is going to be pointed at approximately a 45-degree angle to the deck. Your instructor will tell you low ready to on target. As they tell you to come up, simultaneously you're going to be taking that weapon system off safe and your finger will go on the trigger. So low ready to on target, ready, up, weapon system comes off safe, finger goes on the trigger, and upon recovery, your finger will go along the receiver. Drop down to the low ready, assess left, right, and center. Weapon system will go on safe, thumb will go on top of that selector switch, making sure that your finger stays along the receiver. Next presentation point will be your indoor low ready. Your indoor low ready, it's up to you on how comfortable you are. But the weapon system will lay pretty much flat across your body. Your finger is still along the receiver, your thumb is still on top of that selector switch. But whether you want it in between your feet or outside of your feet, approximately a 5-degree angle, is entirely up to you. But the same concept is going to be that low ready to on target. Prior to that, we have a muzzle down chamber check. These are one of 2 times that you'll wind up using bunny ears, utilizing the charging handle or manipulating the charging handle. So from that muzzle down chamber check, we can actually see where the chamber is right now. Once again, we're going to draw that bolt straight to the rear using those bunny ears. Let it go home on its own inertia. Pop the forward assist. Reacquire the pistol grip. Thumb on top of the selector switch. Your presentation is going to be same as your low ready. So low ready to on target, ready, up. Weapon system comes off safe. Finger goes on the trigger. Your recovery. Finger along the receiver, low ready assess, left, right, and center, weapon system on safe, thumb on top of the selector switch. Next thing we'll discuss is going to be the tactical reload. During that tactical reload, that means you have enough time during that lull in the action that you feel it's necessary to put some more ammunition into the weapon system, so switching out mags. And you will wind up removing the magazine out of the magazine well, putting it into a pocket, reacquiring a new mag, inserting it, seat and tug, and make a final assessment. So it's going to be the same concept. You're going to come up on target, weapon system off safe, finger on the trigger. For your test, you'll wind up actually shooting some rounds, finger along the receiver, low ready assess, left, right, center, weapon on safe, thumb back up on the selector switch. You're going to wind up coming and tucking the weapon system underneath your arm to make sure you've got control over the weapon system. You're going to remove the magazine from your magazine well and put it into a pocket. Reacquire a new magazine in a proper 3-finger grip. Insert that magazine in the magazine well, seat and tug to ensure that it's actually seated. Come back down to that low ready and make a final assessment, ensuring the entire time that your thumb is on top of that selector switch. At no point in time during the reload itself should it be falling underneath. So keep that thumb on top of the selector switch at all times. The next manipulation is going to be the in-battery speed reload. The in-battery speed reload. That's obviously where it's still in battery, bolts forward, round still in the chamber, but we're just going to make sure that we need to replenish the weapon system kind of in an expedited process. So we'll have you come up on target. Once again, weapon system comes off safe, finger goes on the trigger. You're going to wind up firing a certain amount of rounds, and when you're ready to perform that in-battery speed reload, finger along the receiver, automatically tuck that buttstock into your armpit, and you're going to acquire the magazine first. Once you've acquired that magazine from your magazine pouch, you can depress the magazine release button, which is located right here. And as you dump that out, you can come up, seat, tug, and come back up on target. Finger on the trigger. Once again, upon recovery, finger on the receiver. You got low read assess, left, right, center, weapon on safe, thumb back up on top of that selector switch, finger on the receiver again. The next segment is going to be the malfunction clearances. One of the major things that I want you to take away from the malfunction clearances is to ensure that you are not identifying the problem with the rifle before you transition. If it comes down to a point where we're out in the field in a deadly force type situation and your rifle doesn't work, I don't want you to look, try and figure things out, and then transition. You don't care what's wrong with it at that particular point in time. All you know is it doesn't work, and it's going to be faster for you to transition than do anything else. So make sure if it doesn't work, that it's an automatic transition. Do not identify the problem prior to the transition. So for purposes of the test, we'll have you come up on target, and we'll have you shoot until your bolt locks to the rear, i.e. out of battery. At that point, you're firing, weapon system is out of battery. Automatically, without identification, you will automatically transition to your pistol. Once you consider it code 4, that it's all clear, that you want to get this primary weapon system back up and running, you're going to tell your neighbor or your partner reloading. Make sure that you have confirmation from your partner before you start that, or before you holster up and you start that reload. So you got your confirmation, roger that covering. Once again, finger along the receiver, low read assess, left, right, center, and holster back up. Now, if you've got time to holster up, you've got time to snap it back up. So make sure that you've got everything secure. At this point in time, you can bring this weapon system up and identify the problem. I can tell that it's out of battery because there's nothing inside. So right off the bat, I'm going to release that magazine just to clear anything that I need to. Insert, seat, and tug that magazine. And whether you use your hand, or your thumb rather, or your palm, you're going to hit the bolt release. At no point in time will you go to the charging handle to let that bolt go forward. Use your thumb or your palm hitting the bolt release to send that bolt forward. And it's up to the instructor during the test whether they have you come up on target to shoot or have you just continue on with your recovery. But upon recovery, once again, lower the assess, left, right, and center with your finger along the receiver, weapon system on safe, thumb back up on top of that selector switch. All right, so the next manipulation is going to be a failure to fire. Instructor will have you come up on target, make a press. You'll hear a click and no bang. You'll come up on target, weapon system off safe, finger on the trigger. Click, no bang. Means the weapon system is not working the way it should be. Immediately, I will come down once again to that transition. And upon communication with my partner, cover me, roger that covering. Go ahead and make your assessments and holster back up. Once again, you're going to identify this problem. Now, again, the bolt's going to tell you what's going on. If your bolt's completely forward, you know that it's going to be a failure to fire. So immediately tap, tug, and rack. Now, if your instructor tells you to come back up on target, you can come back up on target. If they don't, then just make your final assessment. And once again, weapon on safe, thumb back up on top of that selector switch. Next manipulation, which is a malfunction, one of the 3 malfunctions. We've already had an out of battery, a failure to fire. This is the number 3, feedway stoppage, malfunction clearance. That feedway stoppage, much like a pistol, it can be a failure to extract. You can have a round sitting on top of each other, or that round, 2 rounds trying to fight for that chamber. Either way, the clearance is going to be exactly the same. So once again, we're up on target. We've been firing. We get that malfunction immediately, without identification first. Immediately, you will transition to pistol. And again, upon that code 4, you can communicate with your partner. Partner, cover me. Your partner will let you know, roger that covering. Again, finger on the receiver, lower assess, left, right, and center, and holster back up. Once you're holstered back up, you're going to identify that problem. Now again, the bolt's not forward. The bolt is not locked all the way back to the rear with nothing going on, but the bolt has come back, but you can still see part of the bolt, approximately 3/4 of an inch. And there's a lot of stuff going on inside of that. That's a good determination that you've got your feedway stoppage. So right off the bat, the first thing you're going to do is to clear this malfunction is place your thumb and press on the bolt catch. You're going to lock your bolt to the rear and push your charging handle forward. You're going to reacquire that pistol grip. Now from here on out, your primary hand does not leave the pistol grip. Everything is going to be done with your support hand. So once you've locked the bolt to the rear, you're going to remove the magazine out of the magazine well. You're going to sweep, trying to dislodge the potential of 2 rounds being in the fighting for the chamber. Make sure that those all come out. Next thing you're going to do is press your bolt release, driving that bolt forward on its own inertia. You're going to charge the handle, charge the weapon system 3 times, reacquire a new magazine, insert the magazine in the magazine well, seat, tug, and charge that weapon system 1 more time, coming back up on target. Upon recovery, once again, finger along the receiver, low ready assess, left, right, and center, weapon on safe, thumb back up on top of the selector switch. Last thing we're going to do is unload. So we're going to wind up chamber check, let that bolt go home in its own inertia, pop the forward assist, reacquire pistol grip, thumb on top of the selector switch, their finger along the receiver. I'm going to get ourselves into that administrative loading and unloading position again. Remove the magazine from the magazine well and place that weapon system in front of you with the ejection port out. Wind up using a cup hand, getting space between the weapon system and your hand. You want clearance. You don't want a flat hand. You want clearance so the round has space to come into your hand. With that muzzle elevated as straight up and down as possible, you're going to take that charging handle straight to the rear, catching that round. Immediately lock that bolt to the rear. Charging handle goes forward. Reacquire the pistol grip with our thumb on top of the selector switch. We're going to wind up putting that round into a pocket. At that point in time, we're going to check 3 places. We'll check the chamber, the feedway, which is directly looking down where the round actually feeds up into the chamber, and the magazine well. You can see from the ejection port, you can see that daylight coming through the magazine well. Once you've verified your chamber, feedway, and magazine well, you're going to place the weapon system high in your shoulder, and you're going to guide the bolt forward. And once again, we're going to finalize that chamber check. Let the bolt go home in its own inertia. Pop the forward assist. We require the pistol grip with our finger along the receiver and our thumb on top of the selector switch, closing the dust cover.